Alright, you win. Before I dive in, there will be spoilers, so if you're related to Patrick Star and live under a rock for some reason, well, this is your warning. And if you enjoy what you hear in this video, then please, like and subscribe to help build this kingdom. K-pop Demon Hunters follows the musical group Huntrix, comprised of Rumi, Zoe, and Mira. They are warriors, destined to slay demons, and every century they must sing a song to complete what is known as the Hun Moon. It's a magical barrier that prevents demons from crossing into our world and consuming souls. So, effectively, this is Castlevania Aria of K-pop. On the eve of completing the Hun Moon and sealing the demons away, Rumi, the leader of Huntrix, loses her voice. As the girls seek a remedy for Rumi's voice, a rival K-pop group, the Saja Boys, arrives and starts stealing their thunder. It doesn't take long for the girls to realize that the Saja Boys are in fact demons. Because if you can't beat them, choreograph with them. With Rumi's voice more or less out of commission, the demons grow more powerful. It is here at the 11th hour the girls must unite against the growing power of the demons. However, Rumi has some secrets from her past that even the other members of Huntrix are unaware of. So now Rumi must navigate her duties as a demon hunter, a K-pop artist, and now her shameful past as the demons grow more powerful. There's a lot to go over in this movie, so let me start off simple with the animation, which is smoother than Frank Sinatra's voice if he only ate butter. A lot of the same tricks from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse are here. All of the humans, Huntrix included, are all on 2s, while the demons are all on 1s. That is, until Rumi and Genu sing, and then Rumi is also on 1s. But there's more to it. There are those anime moments where characters have various stances or positions that they take, goofy faces, sped up animations for humorous effect. There are even principles from Looney Tunes in here with eyes popping out and other exaggerated features. And because there's an actual budget behind this project and it's not just some cash grab by woke-tards, this is actually a lot better than what Castlevania Nocturne turned out to be. But that is just the animation. As good as it is, the story is what matters. So let's dive into that. It's pretty simple. Humans good, demons bad. Not a hard concept, and I'm totally for it. Considering the runtime is shorter than most Koreans, I'm amazed they fit in as much as they did. You have genuine characters with flaws who do not blame others for their shortcomings. Yeah, man, if that isn't a novel concept nowadays. And they're women to boot. So yes, rejoice, everyone. Humility is still a lesson known around the world. I hate to make this a positive point, but it's true. All of these self-righteous writers from Hollywood are so full of hot air, even one of them would be enough to lift Carl Fredricksen's house. And frankly, this movie's themes, story, and song is so much more important than the combat. I'm totally fine with them doomslaying their way through legions of demons. Mainly because this isn't their struggle. And it's not that they don't either, the bathhouse fight proves this. But the movie prioritizes the personal struggle, and not some artificial bullshit like help, I'm oppressed, or help, I was a slave like everyone else in this time period and around the world at the same time, or oh no, my boyfriend saves the world but he won't tell me the truth. No, in the same way they are musicians who don't want to displease their fans, more importantly, they are supposed to seal away demons for at least the next century. It wears on them because the world may very well end if they fail. Then you complicate things with Rumi and Genu's blossoming relationship, and now you have even more confusion added to it because she's not entirely sure what to think anymore. Even Genu has internal conflict, which I'll get around to in just a moment. Because the next thing I want to get into is the music. For those who don't know, yes, the music is fantastic in this movie, and just because I personally don't particularly care for a song like how it's done doesn't mean that it isn't well executed. However, that fairness that I applied equally to Wicked does not hold up here, because my goodness, these songs are way, way better. My musical credentials begin and end with playing the electric triangle with a copper pick, so musicals that aren't the Disney one that I grew up with have to impress me as an outsider to the musical world. This is one of the reasons I was unimpressed with Wicked. However, despite how it's done not necessarily engaging me, the rest of them absolutely did. Even if I don't remember all of the lyrics, my goodness, the enunciation is so much better between this small group of women versus these big budget films like Wicked and Mufasa. Not to mention, Wicked is the musical version of the corrupt bastardization of a child's story. So most of the songs in that movie only work contextually because ultimately it's about humanizing evil, in this case, the Wicked Witch of the West. But all of the songs in this movie are universally applicable applicable. Contextually, you can take the songs as they are, for example, What It Sounds Like or Your Idol, the latter of which can be applied very much to Rumi as much as it is universally, because that's how demons get in your fucking head. And what a rallying call almost all of these songs are. Love, unity, teamwork, burying the hatchet with others, acceptance of past sins or personal shame and guilt, whatever, they're all good. Even that stupid soda pop song serves multiple purposes. Which actually leads into the next point. As a freshly dunked catholic, I have a perspective on the religious view of this film. I don't often watch other people's stuff at this point anymore because I'm usually working or writing or both. However, there were a couple things that did catch my attention. In particular, the conversation around whether or not Christians should or shouldn't watch this movie. I think that's foolish. Just watch the movie. It's fine. In fact, I would say it's overwhelmingly Christian. Enough elements relate and overlap in the setting intermingled with Korean mythology, and it works. Believe me, it would be awesome if it were more direct, because the Korean version of Jesus is jacked, and it would be hilarious to watch him powerbomb Abby. Because as we all know, it says in the book, Lifts of the Apostles, chapter 5/5, Blessed ye who skippeth not the day of legs. Amen. Anyway, it gets many details correct, like how, contrary to popular belief, we cannot sell our souls. Our souls are not the devil's to buy or take. They're God's, because, frankly, we're all on loan. So Jinu's redemption is totally fine by me. And I'm totally fine with him being redeemed because he was a human who went to hell. That's fine. We need more messages and stories about redemption, especially in a world that feels as hopeless as ours is today. Besides, how badass is it that when Jinu dies, he doesn't get to stay with Rumi physically, he remains with her in spirit. He protects her as he becomes an extension of her strength. Jinu literally becomes a blade of evil's bane. If that isn't redemption, I don't know what is. In fact, healing that which was broken reflects in Rumi as much as it did Jinu. For those who don't know, in Japan, there is the practice of putting broken bowls back together, oftentimes with gold lacquer or other such material called kintsugi. It made its way from Japan to Korea, and often, the bowl does look better with these golden cracks throughout, using them to bring the piece back together, to fix what was broken. And Rumi is very much that, a broken bowl that is trying to put itself back together. There's a reason why the most popular song of this movie is called Golden, so it adds an extra layer that ties in not only the characters and their songs, but also the overall theme of the movie. Furthermore, this is reflected in the lyrics of songs like What It Sounds Like. That's a realization of a confession as I've ever heard. A lot better than whatever the hell Golden's lyrics were. I don't know what the fuck they were trying to get around to with I was a ghost, I was alone, ha, double chin, ha, you're so gay. Totally accurate lyrics aside, this is also why songs like Soda Pop also serve a purpose. It's not about trying to relay any sort of message, it literally is about gaining fame and popularity in the short term. Is it any wonder why the shallowest song in this entire movie was written by literal demons? And I don't think any song better encapsulates that idea than Your Idol. The integration of the songs for storytelling purposes as well as themes and everything else is just so well done. So all in all, theologically, it's fantastic and we should absolutely support it just for the themes alone, in the same way we should absolutely indulge ourselves in stories like Castlevania and Doom. Now, if there are any real criticisms, I think they go hand in hand, and that would be the pacing and the structure of the story itself. I have a sneaking suspicion the movie was much bigger than the final product because Zoe and Mira don't really have a whole lot to do here. At an hour and a half, the movie really does fit in a lot of details and development for certain characters, in this case Rumi and Jinu, but most of what Zoe and Mira have is discussed in backstory or through song. More could have been covered, but the story jumps right into Rumi gagging, so Zoe and Mira, as fun as they are, kinda get sidelined by comparison. The lack of extra detail means the movie has to cover everything else, and since the director kept the runtime low, the movie blasts through the rest of the events faster than Quicksilver through a Chick-fil-A drive-thru. This is most accentuated by what feels like a fourth fourth act shoved in at the end like Rumi crams food. I can't be the only one who thought the ending was rushed. Where the second act ends feels like a climactic third, with Huntrix breaking up, Rumi's gone full PMS, Zoe and Mira are entranced by Guima, everyone's souls are about to be consumed, and the Hunmoon is broken. There isn't even a brief moment of hope like the end of Empire Strikes Back with Han being a brick, but hold on, we can still save him. Nope, it's GG no Ari, until Rumi pulls a victory out of her ass and everything wraps up in a neat bow. Even the preceding heel turn for Rumi is a little odd, for as great, and I mean great, as the interaction is between Rumi and Celine at the end, a little bit more with her and Celine, and maybe showing Celine's not entirely loving or trusting of Rumi would have been a little bit better. Again, it's a really good scene, and the climax overall is pretty damn good, because what it sounds like is fantastic. I love the ending, but some of it's not quite earned. An extra 20 or 30 minutes could have easily ironed out the few problems I have with this movie. Besides that, there's not really much else to say, outside of a couple logistical issues, and some clarification would have been nice on whether or not people can or cannot see either A, demons, or B, Rumi's patterns. The movie plays fast and loose with that rule, and it was a little confusing. Regardless, it's no wonder this movie is such a massive hit. Good visuals, a great soundtrack, solid animation, good characters, and while the pacing and structure of the story suffer a little, the underlying themes of hope, unity, and realization in spite of our demons, whether literal or metaphorical, puts K-pop Demon Hunters head and shoulders above every movie that's come out this year so far. And in a world filled with shit-tier demon propaganda like Hell of a Boss, Has-Been Hotel, and Devil May Cry, be a K-pop Demon Hunter. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.